Hello and welcome to the show. I am here on Forza 6 with another autocross car build. My vehicle today is an interesting one. It's the Volkswagen Beetle. Now, it initially sounds like a rather silly vehicle to take autocrossing. However, I have seen a number of these cars turn out to be really rather quick. You can make fast race cars out of them, possibly. I don't quite know how it's going to work in A class, and certainly not for tackling an autocross course, but nevertheless, I'm going to have a go. And we're going to see what might happen with the Beetle. Now, before we get to the engine, I am going to put on the important handling parts that I want on this car, because there are a decent number of engine swaps available, but I want to make sure I have enough PI for all of the handling parts, because, well, autocross, what size are those tyres? 265s on the rear, so fairly sensible sized tyres on a very small, light car. Should probably be okay for this. Yeah, I want to make sure I have got all of the handling parts on. Wait, hold on a second. Did I just see that save as much weight as I thought it did? Yeah, the brakes are like 150 pounds lighter. Okay, that's a lot of weight. Okay, that's not quite what I was expecting. How light is this car going to end up then? Because I've still got all the weight reduction to do. Admittedly, roll cage will make it slightly heavier. But, geez, that is a lot. So the brakes took out almost as much weight as the weight reduction did. That's impressive. That is impressive. We are going to put some more of that weight back in again when we do the roll cage. I have a roll cage because, well, it's chassis reinforcement. Hopefully, we have a better chassis will be better for handling. That's why we will put it, especially in the old cars like this. It's very, very important to have all of that. And then we will, actually, I'll come back to that later because it's going to change when I swap the engine around. And then we will go for some aero on the vehicle. Again, adds a tiny little bit of weight to... Shall we have a roof rack on our autocross car? The first ever roof racked autocross car. Do we want to? I guess we might as well take all that stuff off there. It saves weight. There's no advantage to having it on. Right, okay. Now it is time to have a play around with the engines. We have got 4 options for us today. Inline 4, flat 4 turbo. That can't be used because it's already an S-Class. The 5.7 litre V8 or the flat 6. As much as I would like to use the flat 6 or the flat 4, neither of them are going to... I could get the flat 4 on it. Can I find a way of getting 5 PI out of the car? Honestly, I'm not sure I can find a way of getting that kind of weight out of the vehicle. The V8 is... Both the V8 and the flat 6 are quite heavy engines. V8, you don't have very much room whatsoever to play around with parts, so things like gearbox and driveline and so on. That'll probably be all we can do. What I might do, we'll go for the Civic engine. It's lighter, about 200 pounds lighter than the V8, and then we could potentially... I don't even know if we're going to want to. I think we'll come back to that. Don't know whether we're going to want to bother with that sort of thing. And now we're going to try and take the weight out again that the engine added. It's going to be under 1,500 pounds possibly by the time I've finished with this car, which is good. For autocross, you want it to be as light, as good a handling as possible. We're still going to get half decent power though out of this vehicle by the looks of things. I mean, power to weight ratio is pretty impressive in here. Even though we're not going to have as much power as the likes of the Tesla and so on, it is far lighter. Right, so these are adding huge PI jumps because the car's got all of its PI points kind of in handling. How does that... Wait, what? How do they add the same power? I don't quite get what... Okay, sure, we'll go for the race ones though, because it seems like the sensible option to do there. That's far too much PI. We might have to... Oh, God, don't tell me you've got to do this game. I hate this game. It's really annoying when you get to this... Yep, we're going to play this game. Okay, maybe we're not going to have the slightly dodgy valves. I wonder if I can do this, and then can we... yes, we can. Right, so there was a sneaky... That £1 pound difference, and I can now get a much lighter flywheel on. So that's a better way of working that lot around there. Okay, our Beetle, I think, is ready to go. 287 horsepower, 202 foot-pounds of torque. Not as powerful as if I had gone with the V8 option, however, much lighter than that option. And yeah, we got a good gearbox and all of them parts. So I've got to make sure I definitely did put the diff on. That'll be important with this car. Yes, I have got the diff on. Yeah, I'm certainly curious to see how this Beetle will do. So it is here to Hockenheim, where I will get 3 attempts to get through the Autocross course. Our current leader is the Datsun 2000 with a time of 2 minutes 6.8. Now, I'm not sure if the Beetle can stand a chance of challenging it. Certainly, as I said, I have seen these be very, very quick cars in various classes, but whether it's going to handle well enough to deal with an autocross course, a very, very demanding sort of course, this one, I simply don't know. Fingers crossed it handles quite nicely, but let us find out. Okay, so we've got an incredibly long first gear. We've got a very... That's an impressive first gear we've got going. Well, I don't think we're going to have any problems with the wheel spin from the... Jesus, we can break the speed limit by a lot in first gear. That is an impressive gearbox. It's actually impressive grip as well going on in this car, which I am quite surprised by. Well, I'm not as surprised by this as I have been by some vehicles, but that is quite nice to know. I mean, that's about 102 miles an hour. I was going through that really fast change of direction. So, yeah, that's pretty good on the odd speed front, and we changed directions quite neatly through there. Honestly, I could probably do first gear through all of that part. Are we going to be flat through this section? We are. The back end of the Beetle is nice and planted onto the road. Got up to 114 miles an hour. That's good straight line speed as well from this vehicle. It got just the back end wanting to let go ever so slightly. It hasn't. There we go. Now it has. Oh, we're going to get a big twitch. Wow, we're going to get a big spin on the things. Apparently I got a gate past and all of that. I'm not quite sure how that one works. Okay, so interesting characteristics of the Beetle. Okay, on the most part it actually stays pretty planted. If the back end does let go, you have an issue. That's probably to do with being rear-engined on here, but yeah, we're going to try and not have the back end let go on us, and if we can manage that, this is actually a pretty good car. I can take pretty good speed through these sections. The gear ratios are bizarre. It is a very, very odd thing. I don't quite know. Oh, I've tried to carry too much speed. I've pushed it. Well, the run was ruined anyway, so I may as well give it a try. The gear ratios are very, very odd on this car. I'm not 100% sure why, with this engine, it would decide to have such a massively, massively long gear ratio. But there we go. That. It's actually, it kind of works out not too bad. I did a really dumb thing and apparently clipped another one. Okay, it's all gone a little bit to hell at the end of this run. The thing is, that was 4 clip gates and sideways, which is about 20 seconds of time penalties alone, and that was only a 229. This is a fast car. This is a really, really fast car. On to our second attempt. Let's try and not make any silly mistakes with the Beetle, especially not terrible driving errors towards the end of the run there. Yeah, if we can get the back end sorted out, this is fast. This is really very, very fast. It doesn't get off the line amazingly well. We have seen cars do a lot worse than this, though. It's these gear ratios there's a very, very peculiar thing, but I think it actually kind of works out quite well for this car. In all honesty, it's just right for what we're doing with the car. I mean, first gear works at pretty much all eventualities. It doesn't. I don't quite like it going through the fast section. I don't quite trust the rear end of this car. The way that it suddenly snapped on me earlier does not fill me with massive confidence. There is just about enough grip for it to work around here. Just got to be aware that it may try and kill you. There we go again. That it wants to let go. But it doesn't. Then when you really overpush it, that's when it lets go big time, and then there's very little you can do about it. So yeah, it's slightly on edge when things start going a little bit awry with the rear of the car. But aside from that, I'm mighty impressed with this Beetle. Now, it was down here we had some issues. And again, I get similar issues. I'm quite surprised by that one. Actually locked the brakes up into there. I think I got a little carried away with the speed we were suddenly found ourselves going. And again, silly slight lockups with the Volkswagen. Don't probably want to get on the curb through there. That's likely to upset the car. You see, we're easy flat out through there. You had a few cars wanting to slide around if you try to take that corner flat out. This one, though, very, very planted through that section. And again, I mean, we're quick through there, going up towards the tunnel. You can chuck the car in with plenty of speed. It's a slightly funny one. It doesn't feel as fast to drive as the Datsun in some respects, but I think it is as quick as the mighty Datsun. Right, now we are coming up towards these final sections. No silly mistakes need to be made around here. With this one, get slowed down. Now we've got the last little wiggle towards the finish line. You can probably boot it out there. We've got good change of direction. We're going to run up towards the line. It's quick. It's quick. A 2 minutes 7.6 for the Beetle. Okay, we've got 0.8 of a second if we want to challenge the Datsun. This is going to be a close one. On to the final attempt for the Beetle. I've got to just try and cut out those little mistakes. If we cannot have the other brake lockups, I think that would be good, and perhaps be a little braver through some of the faster sections. We can maybe find some time. Is it going to be enough to beat the Datsun? I don't know. Let's. Yeah, we'll give it a try and see. I think perhaps the issue I'm having with the brakes is just they're not quite as good as some of the really fast cars we see go around here, so I'm pushing it a little bit too much, and that's why I'm having a few issues with the lockups. That was mega fast, and then we've got to really try and get the car stopped as we come down here. Yeah, the brakes are good in here, but they're not quite as powerful as some of the best cars that we have had, and a tiny little bit wide, but was mega quick through that opening section. So we found some rear end grip. Oh, behave yourself, Beetle, please. I don't need any more sideways shenanigans from you. That's more than enough for one run. It actually does pretty well top speed. It's not the fastest car that we've seen, and yes, I know it is very, very light, but yeah, I thought this may have perhaps some issues with acceleration and straight line speed. I know we're not really using straight line speed that much around here, but still, this is a pretty nippy little car. It's pretty damn good, actually. Right, we'll wiggle our way through there. I probably don't want to play with the curb. I don't know if it will upset the Beetle, but it's liable to cause issues for some cars, and very small, very light. I don't really want to risk it, seeing as the run is going pretty well. Oh, we got a slight bit unsettled, and again, there's just a little wiggle, but it's nothing too bad. I can still get it all under control as we come towards the hairpin. I was a little too early on the brakes there. And this is me thinking let's not lock up, and I was just slow down a little too early, so we were a tiny bit out of position through the hairpin there. However, I think we are going bloody quick with this car. All right, let's get it around here. Now we have got the final wiggle towards the line. Come on, Beetle, use that acceleration. There's a little bit of oversteer from the car. It's across. Oh, it's a new record by more than a second. The Beetle is monstrously fast around there. Gee, I know I got that first fast gate was immense on that run. I don't know how many millimeters there were to spare. There weren't many on that that first fast gate. I think it was about 100. Did I see about 118 or something? As I left it, it was very, very quick through there. This is an incredibly good car for autocrossing. You do have to be aware. You do have to be aware of the back end. If you start getting it sideways and you just ask a little bit too much of it, it will all of a sudden snap and let go on you. As you saw on that first run, I think that's to do with the engine. My best guess is to do with the engine position, having all the weight over the back there. If you ask just that little bit too much of it, it will let go. But that is a monstrously fast time. That is, it's over 2 seconds quicker than the BAC Mono. Remember the Mono that started off? Yeah, that was the target for the cars? The Beetle is 2 seconds quicker than the Mono around this autocross course. That is a monstrous time. That is a seriously tough target time for cars to go beating. I thought this might be quick. I thought it might challenge the top of the table. I didn't expect it to go that much faster than everything else around, because honestly the brakes aren't fantastic on here. I think the Datsun and the Alpha, even the Prowler perhaps to an extent, felt better under brakes, felt more secure under braking than this thing did. But it had enough quarter speed, it had enough grip to make up for it, enough acceleration as well. So the Beetle goes to the top of the autocross car build table which is, yeah, an interesting outcome, and I think it may reside at there for quite some time. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.